we're sitting, sometimes we're there and we're sitting at the Kaaba, we're looking at the Kaaba, we're praying, and we want to make dua and we forget certain things. So make a list of duas that you want when you're there. And then the last thing is to learn the integrals of Umrah and what they entail. That's the last thing before you leave, that you should have in your mind knowledge of what you're going to do when you go to the Umrah. What are the necessary things to perform when you're there at Umrah. And then we'll go on to what do you do while you're there. What do you do while you're there? So I always put down as the first thing that you do while you're there is keep your gaze down. Because you're there for ibadah. You're there to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're there to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're not there to look at how many buildings are there. You're not there to look at the building structures. You're not there to look at anything except to get closer to Allah. If you stare at anything, stare at the Kaaba. Some of the ulama say it's ibadah to look at the Kaaba, because the Kaaba then induces. Why do they say it's ibadah to look at the Kaaba? It's because it induces in you worship to Allah, closeness to a love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you're going to look at anything and gaze at anything, or keep your eyesight on anything for long, it's the Kaaba that you should be looking at. Other than that, you keep your gaze down. Because keeping your gaze down removes that part of the self that inclines towards the dunya, towards worldly things. That's what you want to do while you're there. And then you increase your du'as also when you're there. Keep remembrance of Allah on your tongues at all times. So when you're walking back and forth to the hotel and to the place, then you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with any of the remembrance, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, any of them. And then the next thing is that you pray the salah in the holy precincts. You're there. The hotels have musallas. They do. The hotels have musallas, and they connect to the speaker system. But you should always pray all 5 prayers in the haram. All 5 prayers should be prayed in the haramish, both in Mecca and Medina. And then you do tawaf nawafil. After you do the umrah, you should do tawaf nawafil, because the best thing the ulama have said that, and the Prophet ﷺ was known to do this, that the best supererogatory worship to do at the Kaaba is tawaf. It's better than to read Quran, pray extra rakat, because you can't do tawaf anywhere else. That's why. And to increase the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What to do while there? Don't complain. Don't complain about the hotel. Don't complain about the walk. Don't complain about the weather, the heat. Don't complain about the crowds. Don't complain about the food. Don't complain you can't get a seat. Don't complain that there should be more food. Don't complain that you should go to this place. Don't complain that the food that was given that you eat is not good. Don't complain that the other person kept you long and you waited for the person. Don't complain about your husband who's great. All your husbands are great people, alhamdulillah. Don't complain. And I'll include the wives. All of your wives, our wives are great too, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So don't complain about anything. If you want to complain about something, complain about how bad you are yourself. If you want to complain about how you're not fulfilling what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to fulfill. complain about yourself. Have patience. There's going to be a lot of people there. So people will shove you, push you out of the way. You know, when you're doing tawaf, a big crowd of people is going to come holding hands. They're going to shove you away. It's okay. That's all good. Just have some patience. Don't look, just continue doing your thing. It's part and parcel of being there with crowds of people. So alhamdulillah, don't just have patience. If you're waiting, we're waiting for, you know, to go on the buses to go do the ziyarah, or, you know, the servers in the hotel for breakfast is not, they're not that quick to bring out or replace food and stuff. It's okay. Alhamdulillah, no problem. Just have patience. And then be content with what Allah has proportioned for one. Very important. Be content with what Allah has given to one, and have a lot of shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Help others by giving what you love the most, which is from the Quran. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. That you will not achieve birra, righteousness or consciousness of righteousness, until you give and you expend of what you love the most. So whatever you love the most, give. Lots of people there that you can help. Even, you know, not financially either. You can help people in different ways by giving food. There's a lot of poverty in those places, and so on and so forth. And then the other thing, the last two things, is eat modestly and conscientiously. Now, modestly meaning that, you know, you're there to do worship. You're not there to eat your belly full of food and then feel tired and sleep all day. You know, that's not what, that's eat modestly, you know, and things that modestly also include healthy things that will keep you from falling ill. Eat healthy foods that will keep you from falling ill, right? Conscientiously means that food is plentiful there. So loading up your plates at breakfast time and then having half of it go to the garbage, because what happens in those restaurants, at the hotels, is anything you take on your table, whatever is, when you get up and leave, whatever is on that table, untouched or half eaten, goes right into the garbage. They don't replace it. They don't recycle it. They don't give it to anyone. It goes right into the garbage. That's what happens to food there at the hotels. So conscientiously means that take what you're going to eat, and that's it. Only take what you're going to eat. So, you know, that is something that we should be aware of, because there's many things that happen that you see there that is not good to see. There's a lot of wasting of food in these hotels and in these restaurants at breakfast time. So just be conscientious of that there's a lot of poverty in the world, that we should hold food to be sacred to us, that we don't waste it. And the last thing is have husn al-dhan for others, thinking well of others. So no matter what happens, that you think well of people and of others. And this is very important, because it keeps our heart safe, and it keeps our heart away from having animosity or hatred towards others. So this is the things that you do while you're there. Now, what do you do upon return? Upon return, you continue the ibadah that you started Umrah. Even if it's a lesser extent, you should continue. If you read in Quran every day there, you should try to read Quran a little bit every day here. Continue to be a thankful servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Continue to be contented with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you. And then, you know, the next thing is because you're back, how do you maintain the feeling? Everyone says they lose the feeling when they come back here. You can try to maintain it. And one of the ways to maintain is to increase your knowledge of the religion. Go to a study, go to a halaqah, attend a regular class, so that you're increasing the knowledge of the religion and the practice of the religion. So attend a regular class. And any promise that you make during Umrah, you should fulfill it. fulfill the promises that you make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the Umrah. And then you continue to make lots of du'as and continue to send salutations upon the Prophet. Very important. And then you keep your heart clean by correcting the tongue. Because the Prophet ﷺ held his tongue and he says, this is what's going to lead you to fire, is your tongue. So one has to control the tongue. And so keep your heart clean by correcting the tongue. And the best way to correct the tongue is to have moments of silence. Just be silent. You don't have to talk all the time, just maintain silence. Too much conversation ruins the heart. And this is from what our Prophet ﷺ said. The one that converses a lot, they will ruin their heart. So one has to be aware and so on. So, and then we will get into the overview of the Umrah. So the Umrah, we'll take questions at the end, inshallah ta'ala. If you have any, you can write some questions down, inshallah. So, overview of the Umrah. So, Umrah is, there's a few things that we have to do for Umrah. So the first thing is niyyah with talbiyah, that you make the niyyah, you make the intention for Umrah. And that is that you say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma inni uridu umrata fayassir li wa taqabbal minni. Oh Allah, I intend to perform Umrah for your sake, so make it easy for me, wa taqabbal minni, and accept it from me. And then you say talbiyah is labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. So, oh Allah, we are here, that you are the one that we are here for, that there's no ones that are associated with you, and that we are here, and for you is all praise. So this is important. The niyyah with talbiyah is important, that one makes the intention with talbiyah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik. And then one does ihram, one goes into the state of ihram. And the state of ihram is that ihram is considered the clothing that men wear, but it's not actually. Those are just the garbs, what you wear, men wear, because they can't wear stitched clothing. Ihram is a state that the pilgrim goes into. So entering the state of ihram, that is you do before you enter the miqat. And this is everyone performing Umrah has to enter that state. And you enter that state of ihram with the niyyah. So entering the state of ihram with the niyyah is what is essential. And then you do tawaf. And we'll break it down, inshallah, in the next few slides. You do tawaf 7 times around, circumambulating the Kaaba 7 times, and then you do sa'i. Afterwards, you do sa'i after the tawaf. You perform sa'i, which is running between Safa or Marwa, or walking between Safa and Marwa 7 times. And then the last that finishes your Umrah is that you trim or you shave your hair. And this is the overview of the Umrah process. So actions of Umrah. So let's do one by one. So actions of Umrah. Entering a state of Ihram with the intention of Umrah, which is to intend in the heart, Allahumma inni uridu al-umrata. Oh Allah, I intend to fulfill the rights of Umrah. Fayassirha li. So facilitate it for me. Wa taqabbalaha minni. And accept it from me. This is the dua. Right? You can say it in Arabic, you can say it in English. That you say, oh Allah, I intend to perform Umrah for your sake, so facilitate it, make it easy for me, and accept it from me. And then you do talbiyah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, that, oh Allah, I am here for you. Oh Allah, I'm here. There's no partners for you or with you. Innal hamda wa ni'mata, that verily all praise and all blessings are for you. Wal mulk la sharika lak, and all of the dominion is yours, or you possess everything, and there's no partners or no association with you. So this is the action Umrah. That's what you do when you enter into the state of Umrah. And then you do tawaf around the Kaaba, which is a rukn. Sa'i between Safa and Marwa. It's a rukn or wajib. You have to do so. And then trimming of the hair or completely shaving it itself. So these are so you have to be in the state of Ihram before you enter the miqat. And we will be going from Mecca, we were going from Medina to Mecca. So before we leave Medina, we will get into the state of Ihram and we will go to Mecca to complete the Umrah, inshallah ta'ala. These are just some of the things. Necessity starting with Sa'i at Safa, starting every round of the Tawaf at the Black Stone. The performance of Tawaf is counterclockwise, that you have to be in the state of Tahara during these rituals. In Tawaf, one has to be in the state of ritual purity. In the state in Tawaf, one has to be. And we'll talk about that, inshallah, when we get to just the description of it. And then you have to cover one's awra during these rituals. One's awra has to be covered during these rituals. So what are things that are that you have to be cautious of when you enter into the state of ihram? When you enter into a state of ihram, there's certain things that you cannot do. Certain things become forbidden to do in the state of ihram. So some of them are for men, some are women, and some are connected together for both men and women. So number one, men wearing stitched clothing. So men cannot wear stitched clothing. That's why they wear the white 2 pieces of clothing or cloth. So they cannot wear any stitched clothing. Men cannot wear any stitched clothing at all in the state of ihram. Men cannot cover their head or their face. Women cannot cover their face. So men cannot wear a hat, a kufi. They cannot put a blanket over their head in the state of ihram. So for men cannot cover their head, and for men and women, they cannot cover their face. What is also forbidden to do is indecent talk, vile talk, or vile speech. This is forbidden in the state of ihram. Arguing is forbidden. This is called jidal. If arguing is forbidden in the state of ihram, because it's counterproductive to what you're going to do, which is to worship Allah. Demonstrate to Allah that when you ask for forgiveness, that He should forgive you. When you ask for mercy, that He should be merciful to you. And so arguing takes you out of that state. It takes you out of that state and brings you into anger. So it's forbidden. Relationships with one spouse is forbidden to do in the state of ihram. Hunting is forbidden to do also. So I just restated it, right? Rafath, relation of one spouse. Fusuk, sin. Jidal is argument. Hunting. Pointing or directing to an animal to be hunted is also forbidden. Killing of certain insects is also forbidden. And there's not much insects there. The locusts and so on are not there. Men wearing stitched garments. And then what is also forbidden is men covering their ankles and toes in the state of ihram. Men cannot cover their ankles or their front toes. So you have to have slippers that allows your ankles to be not covered and your toes to be uncovered also. Things are for covering their head, men and women covering their face. Applying perfume. In the state of ihram, applying perfume is forbidden. So whether that perfume is in soaps, creams, shampoos, any of these things is forbidden in the state of ihram. It's forbidden in the state of ihram to apply perfume, whether it's perfume in itself or it is inside something else, like a lotion, like a washing lotion, like a hand lotion. This is forbidden in the state of ihram, right? Washing the hair or beard with scented shampoo is forbidden. Removing hair from the head, face, or body is forbidden. So in the state of ihram, one cannot remove any hair. So if one runs one's hands through one's hair in the state of ihram, or one combs one's hair, if there's hair that comes out, you have to pay fidya. You have to pay you have to give you have to pay dispensation for it. So whether so for instance, if one isn't, so that's by your own act. So you run your hand through your hair, or the brothers run their hands through their beard, and hair comes out. You have to pay dispensation. You have to pay fidya for every hair that you see that came out, because it's of your own doing. So let's say you're in the state of ihram and you fell asleep on the bus or on the train, or you took a nap before you did umrah, right? You took a nap before you did umrah, and when you woke up or whatnot, you found hair on your clothing, your hair. Do you have to pay fidya for it? You don't, because it's not of your own doing. It's not of your own doing. So if it's of your own doing in the state of ihram, you pay fidya for it. Trimming or cutting fingernails or toenails is forbidden in the state of ihram. So these things you do prior to entering the state of ihram. When you're doing ghusl, when you're making the bath, it's sunnah to take a bath for the state of ihram. So when you're do that in Medina, you're going to do that in Medina. Then that's the time where you cut your fingernails and toenails. That's the time, because it's forbidden out when you're in the state of ihram. And then men wearing a garment dyed with saffron or safflower, unless it has been washed and does not exude fragrance. Because again, when it's dyed with saffron, there's a fragrance to it. So this is also what is forbidden to do. Things that are permitted in ihram. What is permitted in ihram? What is permitted in ihram is making wudu or ghusl. That's permitted. Using the washroom is also permitted, obviously. Using umbrella for shade or standing under a tree. All this is in our books, by the way, because people have asked these questions. Using umbrella for shade is also permitted. Wearing a money belt around the waist is also permitted in the state of ihram. Yeah, it's permitted in the state of ihram. Wearing a belt is permitted in the state of ihram for men, in order for to secure the bottom part of the garb. This is permissible in it. So what happens, for instance, if you do something of these things that are forbidden? What happens if you do something? You pay fidya for certain things, and then you sacrifice an animal for certain things, like a dam. You pay a dam. So what is the distinction between sacrificing animals and paying fidya? So there are differences in what this entails. So things that are muhrim, someone in the state of ihram, what things they would have to do in order to sacrifice an animal to pay them? So the first thing is applying fragrance to entire limb. If you wash your hands with soap in the state of ihram that has scent in it, you pay fidya. If you wash your hand. If you wash your entire hand and arm up to the elbow with a scented soap, that's the entire limb. Then you have to pay fidya. You have to pay fidya. Okay? You have to pay them. You have to sacrifice an animal. So if it's the hand, you pay fidya. If it's the entire hands and arm, it's the animal you have to sacrifice. Covering the heads for a whole day, you'd have to pay a sacrifice of an animal. If you cover your head for 24 hours, you pay them. You sacrifice an animal. If you cover your head for part of a day and then realize that you shouldn't and you take it off, you pay fidya. Okay? Applying oil to one's body, the entire body. If you apply oil to the entire body, you would have to pay them. If you apply oil like a cream and it's oily to a part of the body, then you pay fidya. Wearing stitched clothes for an entire day, you'd have to pay a dem. You'd have to sacrifice an animal. If you wear clothing for part of a day, stitched clothing for men, this is men, then you pay fidya. Shaving the head before completing the tawaf and sa'i. So if you shave your head, 1/4 of it before the completion, you paid them. You have to sacrifice an animal. If you do hijama in the state of ihram, If you do bloodletting, hijama, then you have to sacrifice an animal. If you trim the nails of one entire hand or one entire feet, you pay them. If it's one or two fingers, it's okay, you pay fidya. But if it's an entire hand that you trim the nails of, or the entire feet, then it will necessitate that you sacrifice an animal, or you pay for the sacrifice of an animal. And then not fulfilling a wajib that was mentioned above, like not doing 7 tawaf rounds. You do 4. If you do 5 or 6 or whatnot, then you have to do a dem. Sa'i. If you don't do sa'i, then you pay a dem. You have to sacrifice an animal for not doing the sa'i. So these are things that will require sacrifice of an animal. The things that require sadaqah, or that requires fidya, is applying fragrance to less than a limb, wearing stitched clothes for less than a day, covering the head less than a day, shaving less than 1/4 of a head, removing a hair from the head or face with an intended or non-intended action. You pay sadaqah, you pay fidya. Trimming the nail of one finger or one of the toenails, or 2 of them, not the entire hand or feet. So these things. Now, you may say, well, if we do these things happen, where do we pay a dem? Or where do we pay sadaqah or fidya to? There's offices in the buildings, in the hotel building. In the clock tower, there are offices, Saudi offices, that you go in there and you can pay fidya. Or that if you have to sacrifice an animal, you can go in there and they tell you how much it costs, and you can pay them and they do it for you. And the Saudis will take care of it for you. This is the easiest way to pay fidya or sadaqah, or to pay a dem if you need to. And is that you go into one of their offices. It's in many of the buildings, actually, many of the buildings across from the haram. In order to facilitate this, they've set up offices in those buildings so that one can take care of these, either the fidya or the dem. Preparing for ihram. So now we're going to talk about, what do you do? You're ready to leave, and you're ready to go. And so alhamdulillah, we'll be in Medina before we go to Mecca. So in Medina, before we leave the hotel to go to Mecca, what should you do for the state of ihram? What you should do is clip the nails and remove hair from the armpits and around the private parts, right? Because this is cleanliness. This is a matter of cleanliness. And one should be doing this every 7 days. The Prophet ﷺ used to do these types of cleanliness issues. So one should do that. Perform ghusl with the intention of that you're going to enter the state of ihram. Right? Perform ghusl for the state of ihram. Then you put on the ihram garment. So for the men, they don't wear any stitched clothing, so they wear the 2 pieces of clothing. For women, is whatever they feel comfortable in wearing that covers the awrah. And then for men, they have to wear footwear that exposes the toes and the ankles. This is how you prepare for it. You wear that. And for men, they perfume themselves. This is prior to entering the state of ihram. Perfume yourself is a sunnah before the state of ihram. And then they pray 2 rakat of prayers for the entrance into the state of ihram. They pray 2 rakat to enter the state of ihram. So this is how you prepare for it. And then Umrah step by step, this is what we will do. So after we enter the state of ihram, before we get to the miqat, there's an intention. And the intention is what we talked about before, about making 10 talbiyah. And then you enter the haram through Bab al-Salam door, which will lead you directly to the Kaaba facing Hajar al-Aswad. There's a door in the sacred precinct in Mecca. It's called Bab al-Masjid. It's called Bab al-Salam. Bab al-Salam, this door, takes you right along the path, and it goes right to Hajar al-Aswad, just before it. So when you enter, you're going to go down. We're going to enter, we're going to go down. And just before we get to the Kaaba, on the floor of the Kaaba, you look up and you see the Kaaba and you make dua. Because the dua upon seeing the Kaaba for the first time is mustajab. It's answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you make dua right there. Stand to the side because there'll be lots of people coming onto the floor to do tawaf. So you stand to the side, you make lots of dua, and then you continue to the floor of the Kaaba. Now, for men, it is a sunnah to unveil their right shoulder. And that's the shoulder that's facing away from the Kaaba. And because this is a sunnah, you unveil, you tuck the ihram garb underneath the armpit on your right shoulder. And this is a sunnah to do it this way for the first 3 rotations. For the first 3 rotations, that you do this. Now, if you leave it for the entire rotation, the 7th, it's okay. There's no issues with it. But at least you should do so for the first 3, because this is a sunnah. It's a strong sunnah to perform. And then there's something that men do. If it's not too crowded, and I believe it's going to be crowded, the floor, right? The Prophet ﷺ used to jog lightly, moving his shoulder side to side for the first 3 rotations. This is a sunnah. However, if you're in a group with your family, you're with your wife or your children, and so on, then this is something that you that is not necessary to do. If the Kaaba floor is crowded, this is something that could be difficult to do. So it is a sunnah to do, but because of the crowd, or because you're with people, it may not be easy to do so. And so once you enter the floor, you proceed to Hajar al-Aswad, and you stand slightly behind it, and you face it, or you face with your shoulders, your left shoulder towards the Kaaba. You raise your hands to the shoulders, and you say Allahu Akbar, followed by La ilaha illallah, which is tahleel, and then salutations upon the Prophet. So this is, you're going to start now. So and you know Hajar al-Aswad because there's a green light on the floor that indicates it. There's a green light on the sides of the Kaaba walls and of the masjid walls. On the masjid walls, sorry, there's a green light on the masjid walls that demarks the line for Hajar al-Aswad. So you say Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and then you proceed to do the rotations around the Kaaba, keeping the left shoulder always towards the Kaaba. So you perform 7 of the rotations. From Hajar al-Aswad to Hajar al-Aswad is 1 time. This is once. Now, let's say someone breaks their wudu. Let's say after the 2nd tawaf, one breaks one's wudu. What should one do? So what one should do is one should leave and go perform wudu immediately. Leave, go outside to the washrooms underneath the precincts, without talking to anyone, without stopping. You go perform the wudu and you come straight back in. When you do that without any pause, without any talking to anyone, without any breaks, you just go perform wudu and come back. You can start from where you left off. So if you've completed 2 tawaf, you continue and you go to Hajar al-Aswad and you go and you start, and that round now is going to be your 3rd, and you complete all 7. Because it's a necessity to have wudu while doing tawaf. Is a necessity. So this is if you break your wudu, just remember that you can go perform wudu and come back and start from where you left off. If you're in Someone may ask, what happens if you are in the middle of the second or third, for instance? You're in the middle of it. What should you do? If you remember the spot that you left, that you broke your wudu in, then you can come back to that spot and start that rotation. If you don't remember, then start at Hajar al-Aswad. Start at Hajar al-Aswad, that particular rotation, inshallah ta'ala. Now, when you finish the 7, you're going to proceed to an area behind Maqam Ibrahim, even if it's inside the masjid, anywhere behind Maqam Ibrahim. It should be well back behind it. You don't have to pay right in front of it. You'll see people doing that. This is not good because it interrupts people doing tawaf and it's dangerous. So you go well behind Maqam Ibrahim and you pray 2 rakat and you make dua. Behind that Maqam Ibrahim at the back is the well of Zamzam is there, is water of Zamzam that is sunnah to drink upon the completion of tawaf. So you do the 2 rakat, you make tawaf, you make dua, and then you drink Zamzam at the back there. Way at the back. On the floor, there's Zamzam. And then when you finish with that, then you proceed to Sa'i. Continue to Sa'i. And at Sa'i, you start at Safa, stand on the inclined part of Safa, and you turn to the Kaaba. In the past, you were able to see the Kaaba. I don't know about now. Last time I was there, you couldn't able because of the constructions. How do you know where the Kaaba is? Many people will be facing it, and then there's lines on the floor for prayer that can tell you where the Kaaba is. You just line up yourself to one of those lines. And what do you do when you do this at Safa? You say Takbir, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Sallallahu Sayyidina Muhammad, and then you make dua, short dua. And then you proceed to Marwa. You go to Marwa. So men, when they come, there's 2 green lines close to the Safa side. So you'll come across 2 green lines. For men, it is a sunnah to run in between them or to jog, quicker than a walk. It's quicker than a walk. It's not a full out sprint. Don't do a full out sprint because it'll be crowded. Don't walk, but it's quicker than a walk. So it's a jog. It's a light jog. You lightly jog between the 2 green lines, if able. If you're able, if you're not able to do so, then it's okay. That's fine. So upon reaching the Marwa side, you go up the ramp, you stand facing the Kaaba, and you do the same. You say Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, wa sallallahu sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sallam, and you make dua, short dua, and then you go back. Now, when you go from Safa to Marwa, it's once. When you go back from Marwa to Safa, from Safa Marwa is twice, is 2. So you're going to start at Safa and you're going to end at Marwa on the 7th. You're going to end at Marwa on the 7th. And then when you complete the Sa'i, you're going to proceed to get your hair trimmed or shaven at the barbers outside of Sa'i or in your hotel room, or there's barber shops in the basement floors of the clock tower. I believe that's where we're staying. So in the base, in the lower levels, lower floors of where we're staying in Mecca is where barbers are at. And you can go and shave, or you can trim your hair. When you're done, when you're finished shaving or trimming of the hair, you're out of the state of ihram, and everything that was forbidden to do, you can go ahead and do, wearing stitched clothing, applying perfume, trimming the nails, and so on and so forth. All of it becomes permissible to do. This is this is ihram. This is the state of ihram and umrah. Is there any questions on this?
Yeah, we have lots.
Oh, is there lots? I wasn't looking.
No, it didn't come in the chat. It came directly to me.
Okay, give them to me. Let's see.
Let's start. Okay, Bismillah. So
I will give you a booklet, inshallah. I have a booklet of du'as. I have a booklet of du'as that I made in Arabic and English. So
okay.
I will endeavor to send it to Brother Arif to get it printed, inshallah.
Yeah, if you could send that to me, because we were trying to put together something to get it ready for next week.
Oh no, I have something already. It's
Okay.
all PDF.
Okay, good, good. It was an old one, I think, that you and I had worked on a long time ago, but so this would be good.
Okay.
So, one of the first questions is your slide set. Are we able to PDF that to protect it and share it with the group for information purposes?
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's fine with me.
Okay, so you and I'll connect to that, and inshallah we'll work on that this week. So question number one is, when do you enter the state of ihram for Umrah? Is it before, for men and women, is it before or after you put on the clothes that you're going to wear for ihram?
Oh, you have to put on the clothes first.
Okay,
Enter the state. Entering the state is with the niyyah. So
okay.
you have to have, when you make that niyyah, that intention to perform Umrah, the men have to have all stitched clothing off their body. So they have to have the garb on.
Mhm.
The women have to have, I mean, women can change any time, right?
Mhm.
So for women, it's the only thing for women is that in the state of ihram, they have to make sure their face is uncovered.
Mhm.
That's the only thing, right? For
Mhm.
men, you have to make sure you have no stitched clothing on. Your toes and ankles are open, uncovered, and that your head is not covered. Your head and face is not covered.
So
That's
what
for men.
yeah, so what we do, just for the sake of the group, and so I mean Sheikh Zahir can just go through this. So at the hotel, we will tell everybody to prepare themselves, going through the items Sheikh Zahir said to do. You'll put on your ihram, but you won't make the intention for Umrah at the hotel. Correct, Sheikh Zahir?
Yeah, don't make it. Are we going by bus to Mecca or by
Yeah, we're
train?
going to bus. We're going by bus.
Oh, we're going by bus. So it's easy. So you're going to make ghusl, trim your nails. The men will do some perfume if they want. You're going to get into your ihram garb, the men. And the women are going to get into clothing that they want to perform umrah with.
Mhm.
Now, for women, they can change when they get to the hotel in Mecca. You can change off your clothing. For men, even for men, you can change off your ihram garb and replace it with another ihram garb. Like let's say you get it dirty on the bus,
Mhm.
right? And you have an extra ihram garb. You can change it. That's not an issue,
Okay.
right? So you're gonna make ghusl in the hotel, clip your nails, and get ready. Now, when the bus leaves Medina, they're going to stop at Hulayfa. They're going to stop at a masjid just before the miqat, right? They're going to stop at that masjid. We're going to get off the bus. We're going to quickly go in, perform 2 rakat in the masjid there, because that's what the Prophet ﷺ did. Perform 2 rakat very quickly, and then get back on the bus, make the intention, and we're off to Mecca.
Right. Good. So everybody, again, just for the purpose of everybody having that information, but in Medina, we'll go through this with everybody again, step by
We'll
step.
go through the
Yeah.
presentation again.
Yeah. So don't worry about that. The next question is, I guess just a point of clarification is, what is a nawafil tawaf or tawaf nawafil? And can this be done at any time? And does it have to be 7 times around the Kaaba? Every time.
Tawaf, nawafil can be done anytime. So tawaf nawafil is a tawaf that you're going to do that not connected to umrah. So you're outside of the state, you're not in the state of ihram. You've done your umrah and you want to do some nafil ibadah. You want to do some celebratory ibadah, right? What do? You can do tawaf. So you intend to do 7 tawaf around the Kaaba, naflan. So that's what it means.
Okay.
Or you want to do tawaf. You just want to circumambulate the Kaaba, right? You can do that. 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter. You're just gonna do tawaf around the Kaaba.
Okay. Next question.
Now, mind you, at the time that we're going, it's going to be very busy. Like now, it's busy too. They're not going to let you onto the floor of the Kaaba unless you are doing Umrah. So for the brothers, they're not going to let you onto the floor of the Kaaba if you're not wearing the Umrah garb. They're not, because it's going to be crowded. For women, they won't know. For women, they won't know if you're in the state of ihram or not, right? Because there's no clothing change, right? So what I would recommend, if you want to do extra tawaf, do it on the second floor. Just do it on the second floor.
Okay, thank you. Next question is with regards to the men in ihram. Items like belts and slippers are considered accessories or things that are not covering the aura and not part of ihram. Can they have stitches? Because almost every belt has a stitch.
Yes, it can.
And
The
slipper.
ulama have answered this, that if you're wearing a belt for the sake of keeping your valuables or for holding up the ihram, then it's allowed.
Mhm.
And shoes is allowed because you have to wear something, right? So wearing a shoes on a plane or on a bus or in the state of ihram and so on and so forth, because you can't find things without stitching unless you wear Crocs.
Mhm.
I'm not part of the Crocs company. I don't get any I don't get any compensation for saying this, but Crocs don't have any stitching in them.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they're virtually indestructible. So if someone steps on it, right? If someone's, even if they're large, someone large.
Move on to the next question, my friend. Question is, if I enter ihram, this is from a female, if I enter ihram and my period comes, do I pay the sacrifice for the tawaf and sa'i to come out of ihram?
So
Right?
if you enter
Assuming they're not taking the medication to seize.
if you enter the state of ihram and then your menstruation happens to come, if you know it's not going to finish before you have to leave before you have to leave, then there's a number of things you can do. There's a number of things you can do. There's sacrifice of an animal. There's some other things. I would say that if that happens, so this is what I would say. We're going to Medina first, then we're going to Mecca. So, so for women who track, and all women should track their menstruation. I hope you, because it's important for prayer and fasting. If you're going to Umrah and you track that in Medina, you're going to be in the state of purity. And then when you're leaving Medina to go to Mecca to Umrah, that you're not going to be in a state of ritual purity. That you're going to get your menstruation, you're expecting it, either on the day of leaving or a couple days later. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. And, you know, City Arif is organizing this so he can help you do this. This is what I would do. You want to do Umrah. You know menstruation is going to come when you're going to leave Medina and go to Mecca. What I would do, I would get into a cab with your mahram, your husband or your son or whoever it is. I would get into a cab. I would go down to Mecca, do the Umrah, because you're there to do Umrah. Do the Umrah before your menstruation comes, and then come back to Medina. Do the Umrah, come back to Medina. So that when you're going, so then you did your Umrah. You did your Umrah. And then when you go with the group to Mecca, right, that your menstruation, if your menstruation happens to come on that day or whatnot, then you don't make the intention. You enter the miqat as a muqim. Now, if you're expecting it a couple of days later than when you go to Mecca, let's say you're expecting it on the second, third day of going to Mecca, but it comes unexpectedly before you leave, or you leave on that day, it comes on that day, then there are some things that you can do. I think you should speak to, you can speak to me or speak to my wife. Prefer you can speak to Ustad Saima. give you some a couple of options to do, inshallah.
I was going to ask also, yeah, I was going to suggest for the women that maybe they connect with your wife or my wife on these issues. There is, and again, I speak to a medical, if we have any physicians or yourself, there is medication that is safe to use. And, this is not something that, we prescribe, but you may want to look into that and if that can be taken to help you. Is that okay, Sheikh Zahir?
Yeah, the doctors, they don't like those medication because it can still lead to spotting.
Okay.
During the days of menstruation, if you track it, spotting will be something that is not good, and it can take your cycles out of whack for a very long time. So, so I'm more of non-medication on these things. Allahu Akbar.
Inshallah. Okay. Next question is that if someone has to give the fidya or dam, does it have to be done before they leave Mecca? Or
Yeah, that's a good question. Fidya and dam has to be distributed in the haram. In Umrah or Hajj, when you commit something or you violate a rule and you have to give fidya or dam, it has to be done in the haram region. It has to be done in the sacred precinct. It has to be given out to those who live in the sacred precinct. It cannot be sent overseas, done other poor in other countries and so on. It has to be done in the sacred precinct.
Okay. All right. Next question. It's regarding the sa'i, because when you're doing the sa'i, depending on what level you are on, if it's in the basement or the main floor, where there's an incline, does one have to go all the way to the mountain of Safa and Marwa each time at each extremity, or can they follow the marble floor, for instance, where the turn is at the end of the track?
You have to go past the marble floor and onto the incline, because the Prophet climbed a little bit up. So now it's literally flattened on those other floors. So you have to go not touching it, right? If you're on the floor, we can see it. You don't have to go and touch it, but you should go on the incline of it. If you're on the flat surfaces in the basement or the roof and you're doing sa'i, they will demark the floor of where the Safa and Marwa is. So you go right where it is.
Okay, good. Next question is, do you have to be, I guess this is for clarification, do you have to be in a state of tahara for sa'i? I think you mentioned something about this.
No, you don't have to be. It's because tawaf is a rukn to do for umrah. Sa'i is a wajib. So you don't have to be in the state of wudu or tahara to do sa'i, although it is preferred to do and it's a sunnah to do. So if you break your wudu in sa'i, I would recommend that you perform wudu, because it is a better state to be in for this act of worship. It's a better state to do. For tawaf, you have to be in a state of tahara to do it. It is a must. So for sa'i, I would recommend that you go and perform wudu and come out and come back. The doors that lead to the outside, you can go out and perform wudu and come back in.
Okay. Next, if somebody does bloodletting or cupping before they perform tawaf and then they bleed, perhaps, or any type of bleeding, male or female, I guess, do they have to pay fidya or dam if they start to bleed during tawaf or in ihram?
No, they don't have to pay dam or fidya. If it was done before the state of ihram and then blood happens to come out, they don't have to pay dam. Now, the rules of fiqh, though, apply. So if you bleed, you could be in the state, you could remove yourself from the state of tahara, right? So there's rules concerning it. So if you have a cut or something and it's bleeding continuously, then what you're going to do, you're going to bandage it, and then you're going to make wudu on the excuse that this is happening all the time. So you can perform wudu with the intention you perform wudu even though this is happening. Okay? and the bandage you're just going to wipe over. You're not going to wet it. You're going to wipe over it with your hand, and every other part you're going to wash.
Mhm. Okay. Now, next question is, and again, the crowds are quite, the crowds we've been told are like Ramadan right now in both Mecca and Medina, so it's very, very crowded. And one of the questions is, can you drink water while doing tawaf to stay hydrated and prevent yourself from
Yeah,
weakening?
you can. Even during sa'i, you can drink water during it. Now, they're not going to allow on the floor. I don't think they're going to allow bottles on the floor, because what happens to bottles on the floor? It could drop,
Yeah.
and it can cause people to slip and fall on it. They don't allow those things on the floor. If you take a bottle on the floor, they're going to take it away from you. So what is the best thing to do? Behind the Maqam Ibrahim is Zamzam water. If you get thirsty, go and drink water and then come back and remember the spot where you left, and then you continue your tawaf.
Okay. Can you put scented, I think we've answered this a couple of times, but again, during tawaf or during the state of ihram, if you put, for instance, some people have medical conditions with their skin. So with the understanding of this, are they allowed to use sunscreens and these other items if they can't find them unscented?
Yeah, they can, and that's a durura, that's a necessity, but they should pay a dam for it.
A dam.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And just to clarify again for everybody, the dam is the sacrifice of an animal.
Sacrifice of an animal, yeah.
Okay. So that's
a goat or a sheep.
okay. All right. And also just to clarify, there are offices in the main clock tower, for instance, where we're staying, or around the haram.
Yeah, so if you go through the main doors of the clock tower, let's say you're going back to your hotel, you're going through the main doors from the haram, you're going through the main door of clock tower. If you go in there, the first floor, the first 2 floors, 3 floors are malls, right? If you go straight in and you go directly straight, at the back of that mall on the right-hand side is an office
Okay.
that you can pay. And they speak English. The Saudis
Yeah.
speak English in that
And
office.
also there are some of the brothers and students that work with us that you'll meet over there. They do this for us, and they give it to like the refugees from Rohingya and poor people and families that they know as well. So
Yeah.
there's lots of options. You could speak to one of us and we can make sure it gets done. A couple more questions. The men, if they have a foot problem, or okay, so first of all, the tawaf should be done barefoot, correct?
Yes.
For men, okay? And
Well,
and women, what is it?
they don't allow you to wear shoes in. If they see you have shoes, they'll think that you have walked from the outside with your shoes to the inside, and they'll tell you to take it off. The other thing that happens is that if you walk with shoes on, chances of people stepping on you and you falling is greater with shoes on, right? So you can technically wear slippers or a pair of shoes for women on tawaf, but because of those reasons, they don't allow it.
Okay. Next question, which is in the sent to me, is are there any merits in just doing the sa'i? Like one would go for tawaf, can one go for sa'i alone?
Yeah, one can. There is merit in it. Yeah.
Good.
This is not to worship.
Okay. Next question in the group is, what if suddenly we have trouble holding ourselves for the bathroom and a little comes out? What do we do during tawaf?
Your wudu is broken, right? So that's what happens. The wudu is broken. So you go perform wudu, right? When you perform wudu, if you can see on your ihram garb where it has come out, the urine has come out, then 2 things, you can wash it away, take some water, wash it away, right? If you can't, then just sprinkle water over it. Now, as long as it's not a lot, meaning that it's more than I'll show this. If you hold your palm up, if you hold your palm up, your palm has an indent in it. Your palm have an indent. If you if you put water in your hands, water is going to stay in that indent. That's the amount that is excusable for urine on clothing. That's the amount. If it's more than that, then it's unexcusable. You have to wash it off immediately. You have to wash it off, or else you can't pray in it. You can't do. You can't pray in it basically, but you can do tawaf in it, right? So if that happens, then the thing is that you have broken your wudu, and then you just have to go make wudu.
Okay. Next question, going through a couple of things here, is I guess we were using the terminologies. You were using terminologies, Hajar al-Aswad and a rukn. Can you just explain what those are for those that may not be familiar with fiqh terminology? And
Yeah, Hajar al-Aswad is the black stone. Sorry, I should have translated black stone, right? And you know the story of that it came and it was white, and due to the sins of people, it came black, and it was poured in the Kaaba at the corner. And this is where the Prophet ﷺ has started tawaf and kissed it, so on, for starting tawaf. And then rukn is a pillar. So when I said a rukn of umrah is tawaf, meaning that it is the necessary component to do in tawaf. You have to do it. You have to perform tawaf.
Okay, so the next question, and I think we've, just for the sake of clarification, you've said that we can put on scents, scented creams, all of these things before entering the state of ihram.
Yeah.
So if they're scented and the scent remains with one during the state of ihram, that is okay.
That's fine. Yep.
So if one needs to reapply, for instance, a cream or an ointment during the state or after they've entered the state of ihram, can they do this if it is not for medical purposes? Like sunscreen, moisturizers,
if it's not a necessity, means not for medical reasons. If you do it to an entire limb, you have to pay a dam. You have to sacrifice an animal.
Mhm.
If it's an entire limb, a face would be entire limb, hand to elbow is entire limb,
Mhm.
feet to knees is entire limb, the whole back is entire limb.
Mhm. Okay, so yeah, so again, thank you. I think that clears that question because we've had a few of them that were so I've combined everything into that one, answering it. And just not really related to anything fiqh, the offering of sunnah prayers during the days and times in Mecca and Medina, can this be done anytime? Are there any specific sunnah prayers?
No, you can offer sunnahs anytime, and that's nafil. As soon as you enter the mosque, tahiyatul masjid, you can pray Salatul Tawbah, Salatul Shukr, Salatul Hajj if you need it. Salatul Hajj is a need, Salah for the need of something. Salatul Tawbah, the Salah for repentance. Salatul Duha is the mid-morning after the sunrise. By 20 minutes to Dhuhr is Salatul Duha. And so you can pray any of these prayer anytime.
Yeah. So I am getting a lot of questions for scented stuff. So this is just my comment, not Sheikh Zahir's answer. But remember, everyone, it's only a couple of hours that we're actually going to be in the state of ihram from the time we leave Medina to the time that we complete our umrah. Maximum it might be 24 hours. And this is kind of what I say to everybody, that if you're smelling bad, everybody else is smelling bad. So don't worry about it. Don't be too overconscious about it. It's not a personal thing. This is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He wants from us. So don't worry about these things unless, again, it is something medical and it's a necessity. Then, you can do certain things, as Sheikh Zahir has said, and in the performance, or if the necessity of these things require a dam or a fidya, then it can be, we can help you with that, right? So, and that goes for everything that, we've talked about, from scents to creams, ointments, lotions, lip balms. The rulings are, the same, before and after. Again, speak to one of us when we're there, and inshallah, we'll be able to guide you to what needs to be done. I think we've gone through all of the questions. Are there any other questions? If anybody wants to raise their hand, or that's it. Okay, so I think again, there are going to be questions that'll be coming in through the week, so we'll put them together and send them out with the answers to everybody, inshallah, that would need them. I want to thank everybody for joining us today, for participating in this week's seminar. Next week, inshallah, we will have it. Sorry, I should probably put my screen on. Next week, inshallah, we will have the seminar in person at Tariq Islamic Center. We'll be meeting just after Asr. We'll send the time for everybody that's in Toronto local. For those that are in the GTA and are able to attend, we kindly ask that you come out. It's important for us to see who we're traveling with together. We do understand that there are those in Ottawa, in the US, that may not be able to join us, but we will be doing again a Zoom link for everyone, inshallah, and we will send out that link to everyone so that they have access to it. We'll also be sending out the day-to-day itinerary. We were just tweaking it to make sure that it matches the dates for everybody that's arriving. But the entire group, again, for the sisters that need these dates, the entire group will be leaving Medina to go to Mecca on January 1st, okay, on January 1st, inshallah. That is the date. So again, if there's any other questions, please send it to us in WhatsApp. And we will, again, as we try to go through, alhamdulillah, we had some good questions today. We will go through what has not been answered or covered, and we'll put it together. We'll also send out the booklet on how to perform Umrah and the slides, and hopefully by next week we will have a printed version of the copies for the dua, inshallah. All right, so I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, actually, don't leave. We wanted to go through the Nusuk app, which is very important for everyone. Everyone should have received their visa this week, with the exception of anyone who has performed Umrah within the year. And that includes some of you that traveled with us last year. You'll be getting your visas, inshallah, after December 6th on the 7th or 8th. So for those, for everyone here, I'm just going to turn it over to Sister Shazida, who's going to be talking about the Nusuk app and what we need to do. And this is what actually we really need to get on top of, so that we can book our timings in the Rauda. And I'll turn that over to her, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I hope everyone can hear me, inshallah. I'm going to actually start by just sharing the screen here with what you should be seeing after going through the step-by-step instructions that were sent out on the group. I hope everyone was able to download the app. So this is once you're able to successfully download the app, and if you chose English, then everything should be showing up like this once you click on the app and open it up. Um, can everyone hear me? I just wanted to confirm that everyone's able to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so we'll start with the logging in. And so you have to actually click new user, and you need 3 pieces of information before you you actually register as a new user. So you need your passport number, you would need your visa number that was on the document that was sent out earlier, and you need an email address that is set up on your phone. And so just going to play the video. This is without sound. You're going to click on new user, and you're going to be brought to this window right here. These are the 3 options. You're either a citizen or resident, Gulf. It either says citizen or resident, Gulf, or visitor. So you want to check off visitor. So you click on visitor, because that's what we are. Our visa is a visitor visa, tourist visa. And you're going to then fill in the fields. You're going to write in your visa number. You're also going to write in, type in your passport number, date of birth, and nationality. And so once you click on the arrow, it'll give you a bunch of options. So they're not in order. So you're just going to scroll down until you see Canada and click in Canada. And then you're going to type in your mobile phone number. And that once you click in, once you set your nationality as Canada, it will give you a country code. And that's the country code that is in their system. So if you see a number that you don't recognize, don't panic, it's in their system. That's what's registered as the Canada country code. You'll put in your phone number, and that's a number that you're going to be using, obviously, when we get there. If you're changing a SIM card, don't worry about that, because the app is actually registered through your email. It's not going to have an effect on your booking, will not have an effect on any phone number change. Then you want to put in your email address, the one that you have set up on your phone, and then that will take you back to confirming your nationality. And you're going to put in, this person is putting in United Kingdom, but we want to put in Canada. And then that will take us to register. You'll have to put in a password. I'm going to speed it up a bit. You're going to put in your mobile. It's going to ask you for some of the information repeatedly. Just be patient and provide what's asked from you. So you're going to put in your mobile number again, email address, and you're going to be asked to create a password. Now you can create your own password, but we are recommending that everybody, just so that we can troubleshoot when we're there, everybody uses the same password. If you can use Umrah 2022. Put that in, confirm it, just in case something happens with the app and we're panicking. One of the young people can help us out because we have a shared common password. So that's that's an option that we have. Once you scroll down, you're going to see a few options about needing special assistance, a wheelchair. Even if you are going to be using a wheelchair, please do not check this off. We will be making those arrangements for you over there. So it's not necessary to check off need special assistance, but do accept the terms and conditions and check off I've read the conditions, and you click register. We're just waiting for the prompt. So she's going to click register. And then that will send an email to your email. I'm going to speed it up a bit. And you're going to put in your password that you've created. And since this person is already registered, it's not recognizing them, but you will be sent a password, a 4-letter code to your email address, which will, a prompt will come up to enter those 4-letter codes. the 4 letters that have been sent. You're going to put that in. I'm just trying to speed up to that part. So here. Okay, so you're going to type in your numbers. And that should bring you back to the main page. You click verify, and this code that's sent to you, it's only valid for 2 minutes. So it's very time sensitive. You have to check your email and go in and verify right away once you have it. And it will take you back to this login screen. So this login screen would be the default screen that you'll see if you've already registered. So this is what you want to do again. Again, it's going to ask you for your country information. It's going to ask you for your passport number and your password. So just be patient. Again, for the repetition in all the information that's being requested, you log in. And again, it will send you an email with another 4-letter code. You're going to pull up your email, type in the 4 letters, and that should take us to the page that we all want to be in to book our spots for either for Umrah or for praying in the Rawda. So, okay, once she clicks, yeah. So this is what, once you have your app set up, this is what you're going to see. And now the reason we're doing this before is that the spots for praying in the Rawda opens up very early. So, and then once we're there, they actually close, they fill up within the week. So you have to book prior to leaving for Umrah. So what you want to do is click on praying in the Rawda for women if you're a woman, and praying it in the Rawda for men if you're a man, and you're then going to be brought to a screen that looks like this. Sorry. A screen that looks like this, and the green means that there is availability. So you want to click on, so this person is looking at October 2022. You want to click on, so we're going to get to December. So once you open up, it will be December on your phone. You want to, whenever anything is highlighted in green. So for the sisters, we're going to be booking anytime from December 27th for the group that is going on Royal Air Jordanian. They're going to be going, I think they're arriving on the 28th. So they're going to be booking from the 28th onwards, and the Emirates flight and the group from the States, we can book from the 27th, inshallah. So anytime after that, you'd want to book for the Rawda. Inshallah, we're going to be available at the in-person seminar. We have a lot of volunteers that will be helping to register. If you're unable to do this, it is a little, it's a little complicated. If you're not able to do it on Saturday, next Saturday, inshallah, at the masjid, we'll have some volunteers set up to help you with this. So please do not panic if you're not able to do it on your own. This is just for those who would like to go in and register and book as soon as possible. Right now, unfortunately, the entire month of December is grayed out. There's nothing opened as yet. But if you do register, you want to you want to check every day, perhaps multiple times per day, so that you're able to be guaranteed a spot, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Brother Arif now.
So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Again, it's a lot of information. Things have changed in Mecca and Medina, especially with this app that makes it really important for us to go through a lot of these things. It's the first time for many that are traveling for Umrah also. So we want to make sure that everybody's prepared. One of the questions I had is for young children, if they're minors, that are under the age of 12, For the app to go into the Rauda, at this point, they have not required them to register for the app, and I don't think that will change. So if you have a young child that's with you, it's best that you keep them with you when you're going in. If anyone is older than 12 and the guards look at them, sometimes they can be nice, but at the same time they have a job to do. So it's best that if you can register them and they do have their own device, that you do your best to get them onto the app to get that opportunity to pray in the Rauda, inshallah. So with that, I think that we can close up this week. If there's no questions, you can, if you have more questions, you can bring them to the seminar next week, where again we'll go through some of the items of the travel. We'll go through some of the items to know about inside and outside of the haram, and we will send out the exact timing, but it will be at Asr. We'll pray Asr and then continue with the meeting upstairs in the gym at the Tariq Islamic Center. We'll send out the address for those who may not be familiar of the location. With that, inshallah, we will close this week. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.